welcome to a special Roundhouse Roulette minisode.
The origin of the Roundhouse Roulette.
Seeing as our next episode, Soul of Winter, was included on our prototype spinning wheel, we thought now was the perfect time to divulge the secret origin of our patented Walker Texas Ranger roulette wheel. We'll kick things off just by how we used to watch Walker before selecting by roulette. What was the process?
That's a great question, Adam. I think Evan's going to talk about it.
Yeah, I guess the original process was sort of before the internet had a network of rating systems or anything like that for things as obscure as Walker Texas Ranger. And perhaps that's kind of the greater mission of our podcast, is to give people the information they need to really track down those juicy episodes. But the best things we had at our disposal were the actual descriptions of the episodes that were on the back of the DVD cases. And those are often brief. It's usually a sentence, maybe two.
Yeah.
And some of them are completely and totally ridiculous. And we got pretty good to the point where we could kind of tell from some of the descriptions which ones would be the best episodes. But that was kind of all we had to go off of at the time.
We pretty much just looked for the most ridiculous sounding one, pop it in the DVD player, and just wait for it to unfold.
The descriptions on the back were also not always super accurate.
Yeah, sometimes you get fooled. You'd think something was going to be super awesome, and then it was just really slow, laborious with not very much action.
Or it would like focus on what they said in the synopsis, but in reality, like that was like a very minor plot point. I think that would happen from time to time too.
Yeah. So in reality, that was its own kind of roulette.
There was one earlier that we recorded here that it was like they're going after Trent. Oh, it was a special witness.
Yeah,
something about Trent. We all just went, "Who the hell's Trent?" Then of course, once we realized, oh yeah, Trent was a recurring character.
For all the Walker fans out there yelling at us for not knowing who Trent is, respect and props.
Bear with us.
Yeah, so that was pretty much the way we did it, and we would have like Walker parties at your dorm, right, Bob? We'd have all our friends over after gigs and stuff and watch Walker.
I remember my roommates getting mad because I'd fill up the DVR. Maybe it might have been TiVo.
Yeah.
I'd fill up the TiVo. Who the hell's recording Walker Texas Ranger? It's on like 7 times a day. It fills up the TiVo hard drive.
Yeah, yep. So good. I remember White Buffalo was definitely one of the big ones at that time that everyone was just dying over.
Now, what's in White Buffalo again? I'm pretty sure it's is it cocaine, heroin, and meth? Is that right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
White Buffalo is like a street drug that's made up of like every drug you can think of.
Come on now. It's not a street drug. It's a hashtag super drug.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, crazily enough, we have not yet to come across a super drug here on Walker, but we're bound to.
We'll get there.
Yeah, eventually. Which brings us to, we actually played as a band for Evan's wedding and got together with Bob's roommate Tyler, who was yelling at Bob about the DVR, most likely.
Probably, yep.
And we formed the Wedding Nights to play your wedding, right, Evan?
It's true. A greater time has never been had.
Yeah, probably one of the best wedding bands ever, I would say. Right?
Yeah, I think we got a custom kick drum with a broadsword across the front.
Mm-hmm. It's no exaggeration. It's the greatest band of all time.
Do you still regret having us?
I regret you allowing you to give a best man speech, but the band was great.
Oh, man. But the band entrance, can you describe it as a groom not knowing what's going to happen? Can you describe it for the audience here?
Sure. So I'm a really big fan of progressive rock. My favorite band is probably Yes. And Yes's keyboard player in the early 70s was essentially a 6.5 foot tall man who looked like an elf from Lord of the Rings. And he had like 40 keyboards. Anyways, his name's Rick Wakeman, and I believe his first solo album is a concept album about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And I guess that was the inspiration for the band name. I'm not sure where that came from, the Wedding Nights. Anywho, the Wedding Nights came out... yeah. Anywho, the Wedding Nights came out in cloaks and helmets with a lamp holder in the foreground, and some of Rick Wakeman's finest music from the tales from King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table were playing when you guys came out. I think I was the only one who understood what was happening. Most people were pretty confused. It's a wedding. It's not something you typically see at a wedding.
There's the older folks there. They must have been like, "What in the world is going on?"
This is what the kids are listening to these days. Yeah. The more likely they were like, "Oh, I had that Rick Wakeman record."
Yeah, probably. I mean, it starts out with him saying, "He whoever shall pull the sword from a stone shall be the one true king of England." And then the music starts. But like as soon as I heard the first two words, I'm like, "Oh boy."
Oh man. And did we I think we played the Walker theme song as the last song. I know we rehearsed it. Did we end up playing it?
I don't remember, but I assume we probably did. Unless we got specific orders not to. I'm sure we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys were asking permission one way or the other, so you probably played it.
If there were orders, we probably ignored them anyway. So yeah. We played it.
Yeah, and we used to, Bob and I played in the band in college, and we used to play the Walker theme song as many times as we could.
At the bare minimum at the end of each set, right?
Oh yeah, it's really the only way to end anything.
Probably like a 15-minute long cover of some Allman Brothers song or Steely Dan or something, just jam out, and then a 30-second Walker song to end it. I mean, the fans demanded it. They really...
I think Kate, our lead singer, didn't like that very much, but...
Probably not.
I
bet most people didn't like it, but I didn't care. I loved it.
Some of the wedding nights, about a year after Evan's wedding, they were getting married too, Tyler and Dana, and they asked us to reform to perform for their wedding. So Evan took over as a wedding knight. It was only fitting. He picked up the bass, and...
I was knighted with a pair of drumsticks on my shoulder.
Exactly. We knew we had to rehearse, and being that I'm not in Massachusetts and Bob and Evan are, we decided to take a week and rehearse the tunes in Nashville, where I'm at. So Bob came out a little bit earlier, as Evan had to work on some bird thing.
Yeah, it's called work, but yeah.
It's probably, yeah.
Oh, Evan had to work.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So Bob and I were kind of just hanging out for a few days before Evan got here, and we were kind of like, well, we know we're going to watch some Walker when Evan gets here. Wouldn't it be cool if we could kind of like randomly select the episodes? And so we just started like Googling how to make spinning wheels and all this stuff. And we came on one and we're like, oh, we could do that if we just had like a fidget spinner. You know, we could kind of fashion one.
Yeah, so all of the websites that we saw for crafty people making wheels for like Wheel of Fortune games at home or something like that, they all use fidget spinners. But between the time that those videos were made and the time that we went to make our wheel, fidget spinners had fallen out of favor in the public eye. Turns out they're not that popular in 2019. So we went on a quest to every Dollar General and every other random store we could find, and eventually did come up with a few. People had them in the bottom of bargain boxes or, you know, in the trash, whatever. You know, we came up with them.
Yeah. We went to like 5 places. The last place we went was a Dollar General, and you were like, let's check the discount bin at the very, very bottom of the shelf. So you had to you lied down and reached your arm into it. And then you're like, oh, I got one. And this was after at least an hour of driving around trying to find this stupid thing.
I wish I remember what else was in that box. I can only imagine.
It was the mystery box.
Yeah,
so we take it up to the register, right?
Probably a lot of like Nicolas Cage DVDs.
Yeah, we take it up to the register, and the guy's like, "Oh, we've got a bunch of those back behind the register here. Nobody seems to want them." Had we had known they were just behind the register, we didn't know you need to show your ID for one of them.
Right, yeah.
So we get that back, and then we're like, oh, we should make like a drum head into, it'd be like that big. So it'd be a nice thing to spin. So we got like a drum head and some parts from Home Depot, right?
Yep,
and like a broken shovel where I broke the head off the shovel. So we just had the thing.
Yep.
We kind of made like a Festivus pole. And so we had to kind of glue that down and wait for that to kind of set. And then I think I had to work a little bit. And so, Bob, I just let you at it, man. You were at it for like at least a good day or so.
That was a better part of an afternoon, I think. All in all, we probably spent 2 or 3 days on it.
It was awesome. There was one point I turned to you and I was like, are we wasting too much time on this?
Yeah.
And you were like,
shouldn't we be rehearsing the songs we're supposed to play in this way?
And Bob was like, no. Finally, we got it all together. And really the next part was determining what episodes to put on the wheel. And so what we ended up doing was taking all the DVD sets and going to Tailgate Brewery, going through all 8 DVD sets, reading each of the descriptions and finding the most ridiculous ones, and then choosing one for each season at least. And we came up with 12 episodes because we figured, why not just make it 12? And just for the record here they are. Number 1, Skyjacked. Number 2, Mean Streets. Number 3, The Siege. Number 4, Heart of the Dragon. Number 5, Soul of Winter, which coincidentally is the episode that we are going to be reviewing in our next Roundhouse Roulette episode. Number 6, Survival. Number 7, the aforementioned White Buffalo. Number 8, Case Closed. Number 9, Forgotten People. Number 10, Deadline. Number 11, Evil in the Night. Number 12, Vision Quest. So then I used the Photoshop and came up with a picture from each episode and put it up. And we went over to Staples, had it printed out to the perfect proportion that we could glue on. Yeah.
Just glue on a 22-inch drum head.
Yeah. And not to be outdone, we had the idea of having the logo in the center of the spinning wheel. Since the center hub of the fidget spinner didn't move, we figured we could mount the logo of Walker Texas Ranger on it, so when it spun it would just stand still. But it led us to a problem where, like, what is going to stop it and select the episode?
Well, we put pins in, which I think is an idea we got from the internet. And then we just need something to, like, be a ticker, like you see on Wheel of Fortune or...
Price is Right.
Right, or Price is Right.
Yeah.
So then we needed something to be the ticker. So we just found a little piece of plastic that would work, and we affixed it to a cardboard cutout with a picture of Chuck Norris performing a beautiful kick, and the little plastic ticker sticking out of his foot. So
essentially, his kick is stopping and making the selection on the side.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
And I think we finished it off with a black spray paint job and some children's Western toys glued to the bottom.
Right. We have the detailed plans, blueprints and all. They're in the National Archives.
So we get this done, and we get a few of our good friends over. It was really the first Roundhouse Roulette party, and Evan was flying in that night and kind of didn't really know what was going on. I remember sending him a picture of CD's face multiple times via text. Yeah,
there was some talk of this, lots of giggling, but I had no idea what was happening.
We had to figure a way to denote episodes we watched, so we decided that we would choose CD's face and get a bunch of those and cut them out and affix them to the episodes that were already spun. We also put a ton of them on top of our cat and took a picture of it. So we pick you up from the airport, Evan. You walk in. What's your first impression of this wheel?
I think my reaction to the wheel was pretty underwhelming given your reaction to my reaction. But in retrospect, I'm looking at the photos of it now. It's like, I mean, it's pretty legit. It looks professionally done.
Yeah, we expected tears, so...
Yeah.
Well, you guys, keep in mind, you guys have been working on it for 2 days. I knew it existed for 2 minutes, so...
That's a good point. It's fair.
I think perhaps even more masterful is the choice of the episodes on there. I think probably 10 out of those 12 would be in like the greatest hits of Walker episodes. They're so good.
Yeah, so you think we did a good job choosing the episodes?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So pretty much this spinning wheel was the genesis for this current podcast idea. There have been a few other Walker podcasts, but they went chronologically through all the Walker episodes, and most of them fizzled out around the second season. I'm really hoping we don't fizzle out, guys. I really want to keep doing this and get every single episode.
I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to have to. I've been meaning to say this.
Yeah.
I've been getting threatening calls from Chuck Norris's lawyers.
Yeah, so we thought it would be interesting to do randomly select out of all the episodes as opposed to 12 that we chose. And initially during the podcast, we were using the program Plex, which is kind of like a server for your DVDs to randomly select the episodes. But we want to give a shout out to wheelofnames.com, which is you pretty much can create your own spinning wheel of anything. And we did that with all 200 Walker episodes, and we've been using that the last few weeks, and it's really cool.
It's amazing how far technology has come in a year, you know? Just think, if this was around last year, we wouldn't have spent 3 days building a roulette wheel.
Yeah, pretty much. It probably was around.
It definitely was. You know?
Well, yeah, I'm curious to see how those 12 episodes from the original wheel will rank. And this week, we actually have a chance to check one of them out. It's the first one from the original wheel, so we hope you'll join us on the full podcast for Soul of Winter.
See you then.
Until next time.
Okay, bye.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the Ranger's gonna be.